Hello, this is Clean Coach Carly. I'm the staff nutritionist for Healthy Habits Living. And I'm talking today about histamine. And you're probably thinking, why are you talking about histamine? It's not allergy season. But guess what? Histamine is active in your body all the time. And there has been a rise in histamine related illnesses. Now, what is a histamine related illness? Well, leaky gut that doesn't respond to typical treatments has to have some sort of histamine intolerance involved. So we have histamine overload syndrome, we have histamine intolerance, we have mast cell activation syndrome, and we're also seeing mast cell and histamine activity in long haul COVID. There's been a couple studies, particularly one done in 2020. So I've written blogs about mast cell activation syndrome, as well as histamine overload and how to use supplements and lifestyle to deal with those syndromes. So you can check into my blogs. What's interesting about long COVID is that the cytokine storm that was kind of blamed for a lot of the respiratory problems and deaths in COVID has been linked to overactive mast cells, which are releasing too much histamine. So, what do you do if you think you have histamine issues? Well, definitely educate yourself and work with a knowledgeable practitioner. You can always set up a consultation with me. Here's some things that you can DIY at home. First of all, your diet and your lifestyle. So, there are foods that release histamine or that have histamine in them. And so, you really want to decrease those in your diet so that you have less histamine in your digestive system. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have histamine other places, but to reduce the overall load of histamine, try to get rid of it out of your digestive system or minimize it. The other thing you can do with your diet is use a product like Histamine Manager, which is our product that has the DAO enzyme in it. So that enzyme works only in your digestive system to break down histamine that is released in food, that comes or is released because of digestion of foods. So there's lots of histamine in the digestive tract and opportunities for histamine. So using a DAO enzyme when you eat is very helpful. The other thing that you can kind of DIY yourself is to manage your stress levels. So our bodies respond to our brain chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline. And one of the ways that they respond is by releasing histamine from the mast cells in your brain. So now we've got histamine in our brains. So working on your nervous system, whether that's breathing exercises or meditation or EMDR or whatever it is that brings your nervous system into calm and allows you to fully let go and relax and move in and out of busyness or fight and flight into calmness, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. So that may not seem glamorous and it might seem a little bit challenging, which it can be, but managing your stress in a way that your nervous system is calm most of the time is a way to reduce mast cell activation. The other thing to be aware of is that there's a lot of things that can activate mast cells. So especially if your mast cells are already primed or overactive, they are going to react to just about anything. So I already talked about diet and stress, your nervous system, but mast cells will also react to mold. So if you're living in a moldy environment or go into a moldy building, or if you're drinking low quality coffee that has mold in it, all of these things can activate or stimulate more histamine response. The other thing that stimulates more histamine response is chronic infections. So you can think of something kind of like long-term COVID or Lyme disease or yeast overgrowth. Those long-term infections also cause mast cell activation and histamine release. So the easiest place I think to start is diet, to minimize the foods that you're eating that have histamine in them and to take a DAO histamine manager supplement. So that is why I'm talking about histamine during the holidays, right? Because it's not just seasonal allergies, and the holidays can bring a lot of stress for people, even though it might seem like fun stress. Traveling, being with family that might bring up old issues, eating foods that you don't normally eat, eating tons of sugar, all of those things can contribute to a rise in your histamine response. So here at Healthy Habits Living, we're always here to help you get healthy so that you can stay healthy and be healthy.